Hi guys, welcome back to Man Cave Models. A bit more work done on this for the week. It is surprising how long a little area like this, I say a little area, it's quite a big area really, to put together and paint actually takes. So the seat, in all fairness, nearly took 2 hours. It is crazy, isn't it? But yeah, it's surprising how sometimes you think, oh, I'll get this filmed and I'll get that filmed, and then the time's just disappeared. And I know some of that is waiting for paint to dry, but yeah. Anyway, guys, grab yourselves a cup of coffee, hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for whoever have subscribed. If you're building along with this, then build along, and I shall be quiet and get on with the video. Right, so we're back at the bench. A little bit of sanding and filling, just filled in the potholes as I call them. A little bit of filling down through here. Oh, and I did put the front wheel together. Now I'll get the plan before we go too far ahead, only because I was fully aware that we would have a load of filling to do. So you get 2 parts of the tyre to go, which are plastic, and this bit that sits into there, which is great, but you don't have that on the original wheel. It's actually smooth, so the original wheel should look like that on both sides. That's what it should look like. That's just pants really. They could have done this in 2 halves. So then I've filled it and sanded it. It's not brilliant, but it is going to go on the side of our base, so it won't be overly visible if it is visible. So yeah, so I did do that off camera, and to be fair, it went together quite well, apart from obviously the seam you get around here and up on these pressed steel bits, so they should be nice and smooth. But till I get some paint on, I'm not going to see if I need to do any more filling anyway. And I've got some more bits on sticks ready to go, so we're going to prime this in. I've already got a mahogany, which is pretty good for sand coloured vehicles anyway, so I'm going to prime it in mahogany and then pop that out. And before we do go to, I did put the instrument cluster on, and if you notice there are no dials. I've drilled them all out because I'm going to put the decals in there and the glass on top. It's a bit awkward putting decals in over the raised bits, so I've just drilled them out and sanded them the best I can, and the best I can, and then we'll put the decals in. It should look a lot better, so I'm hoping it will anyway. So I'll get off the bench a minute. I'll go and right, so I've just changed the view on the bench a little bit and had a weird coffin fit all of them. So we've just base coated that with a primer, which is the mahogany brown. It's not, I would have done black, but I've run out of black, so I was just going to go over the top with black, then a white coat. So hence why I've moved the camera, so I can take it over to the spray booth. So we'll go over there now. Right, excuse me, we're on a bit of a dodgy stand here. So we're just going to go over the top of this with a black, and then we'll do a white. So you're going to lose me for a sec because of the noise of the extraction in the compressor, so you'll have to have my dodgy music. Just going to go over with a flat white. sorry, just in case we missed it with the filming side of things. So we started off with, we sprayed it black, went over the high areas with the white, and then over the top of that we did XF60. Then over the top higher points of that we did XF60 with a drop of wooden deck tan just to line it up a little bit. And then on top of that, the last coat that you saw was that mix with a drop of white added to it and thinned out a lot more. So it wasn't a heavy coat, it was just a coat to highlight higher places. So now we're going to let that dry because although it's touch dry in 20 minutes, we want to give it a bit of a duffing, so we want to make sure it dries properly. So yeah, so we'll let this dry that way around. It looks, like I say, you'll never get in there to paint all that when it's together, so it's starting to look quite nice with all the bits in there. We'll bring out all that detail, make it look a little bit grimy and beat up, because I can show you a picture like now of what I was looking at. So and also our wheel that we had filled. My camera's not doing very good thing of, I had to reset it last time I did that. That's off where that filling is, so it isn't too bad. It's it'll be quite acceptable, I think, but it's going to go, so on our base it goes that way, so I'm going to put that way anyway, so it's not really going to be overly visible, but it's pretty covered. A bit of a nightmare to get in and do, but bar that. So anyway, let's let this dry and then I'll be back. Everything's dried to a good point. I was trying to find my other grips, but I can't find them, so I have to do this by hand. I think I'm better downstairs. I'll have to have a look. We're going to start off with a bit of chipping, which is my normal start. So, and we're going to add a little bit in a few places. Not that you're going to see some of this because it will be tucked up on the way. To be fair, it's a little bit, when you I have put it back together in a few places, and this thing is more like painting a cockpit of a plane than it is a small vehicle. So we're going to get away with some of this with the chipping sponge, but to be honest with you, I think we're going to end up doing a lot of this by brush as well, just because it's getting into there. If you see what I mean. So just getting into places to do it is not going to be that easy, which we didn't think it was going to be anyway, so if you're wondering, that's wood apparently. So you get the idea of it. Just going to gently go down through. And like I say, we'll probably end up going through a lot of this with brush as well. all I know is that doing it with this is not very nice because it's making my fingers ache already. Always wonder when you know you go and get your hair cut and the guy's there just nipping away with a pair of scissors, you think, how do they actually manage to do that all day long? Let's see what I mean. It's going to be a bit awkward in a few. Now, normally what I'd do is I'd go through and do this with a lighter version of the colour we painted it, and then come over the top with the sponge to give it a bit of depth. But to be honest with you, we are not going to see a lot of this once it's together. Well, I've eventually found my tweezers. Eventually, for a couple pairs, and one pair's a little bit. They mind you, they're crooked. I don't know if it would work. But so this is where we are with that one. Do these sides. Bearing in mind, we're only going to see up to this point. If you get to see that much, it's quite tight in there once you're in there. And also we've got to look at, so it's okay doing the chipping to this, but if I can get that in there a minute quickly, don't have to be perfect, just a sort of. We've got to remember this sits like this up to this point. So we've got this area here, and out of this whole area you're probably only going to have a certain amount of this is just worn out, especially around here. So it'll be up to about that point, I reckon, and some of this left. So no, I'm not going to go too crazy with it. More wear up here and a bit on down here, but that's probably about our limit, I think. So we'll start off with the sponge on the thingy. Just makes life a little bit easier than trying to hang on to it and end up with sore fingers. Yeah, sore finger. So we're looking around that area. So let's start with this bit around here. So we'll put a dollop of something back onto that. Well, you can get that, so just got to remember how to deal with stuff like that when you get it. I'm just going to eye that in a minute. Try and get the wear where we want it. Trying to sort of like work out if he was to put his arms down and stuff like that. I think that's pretty good there, isn't it? Wear wise. Go back onto this one. going to add a little bit to there. Because it's not electric cable, it's like the cable for whatever that is. So yeah, so that will stay the sandy colour. So then we're looking at putting that one over there, this one here. So I got a sneaky feeling that's electric and this is electric, so we'll do these two in black. We'll get these done because we're going to gloss coat this in a minute, so we can put whatever decals need putting on. If we get like the colours in that we need to get in, then we can it's easier to paint on a matte surface than it is I was using the wrong black. Plus I put some matte varnish with it to thin it out a little bit, and decided it didn't want to do it, so I just got the right black, which is the Tamiya rubber black. That's all our blacks for a second. I'm going to get rid of that one, bring this one back. So I'm going to do these running boards because they're supposed to be wood, apparently. So I'm just going to use wooden deck tan on these. So I'm kind of hoping that this video will be just after Christmas, so a bit late for this video, but I'm kind of hoping that I get a new light for Christmas or something. There's a light in here. Oh, I've got a 6-foot LED strip light. I've got a light here, you can see, you see the shadow up to it, and it still sometimes seems dark. The window light there, yeah, a bit weird. I'm just going to get something to go on that seat. So just getting some this it's a sorry guys, it is so it's a wooden leather set. Now don't ask me where it came from because I got this off my dad. So yeah, I got left when my dad left us all. He left me a load of stuff, which was really nice, and that was one of the sets that he gave me. So while that's drying, I've got, don't need that for a minute, I've got some dark iron, Tamiya dark iron XF48. I'd have to put the lid back on, maybe. There you go. I'm just going to dry brush that onto that engine. I know we're not really going to see it, but it's more, if you do get a glimpse of it, you'll see something. If you notice, I've left it quite mucky at the moment. It may not look like a lot. all we need to do on that one. And then I've got a little bit of polished metal. And this is really just if you do manage to get a good angle in there, you can actually see something. Same again, just going to dry brush a little bit in there. Always try and start where you're not going to. So if you are after a decent metal colour, because I know like that some of the tarot colours are really, pigments are a bit rubbish. That one, the Ammo Mix one, it's polished metal and it's 192. It's actually quite a really nice. It's quite a really nice paint, but when you get it, just make sure that every time you use it, you give it a really good shake. Otherwise, the pigments, you don't, when you put it out, you don't get a lot of pigment in the paint, and it doesn't look so good. But yeah, if you get a really good shake, you get it. It's a really nice paint to use. So that's that. The running boards we're just letting dry. Well, actually, they're probably dry now anyway. And all we're going to do is add a little bit of old rust. Yeah, I know it sounds strange. And I mean a little bit, just a drop of that. Get your brush. Plenty of water. But we're looking at possibly just that. So we're looking at just that. Well, there you go. Yeah, just that. And so it's quite thin. I'm just going to go over the top. So our gloss coat is dried. Well, this is a satin actually. It looks quite glossy, but yeah. So we're going to get some decals on. So I've cut them out, and they are tiny. Sorry, it's got the big 16 on there. You should so if you guys can see them. That small, I can't actually see. In fact, they're all on a white background, so hopefully we should see them once they're on. Put it in some water, stick it on there, let it soften up. Now I'm going to stick a little bit of don't want to use that brush. It's a bit long, but it will do for what we're about to do. If you do use this micro set and micro sew, just keep a brush, a spare brush, out of the way for just doing that, because I'm pretty certain if you try and use a brush for something else, it tends to go a little bit funny. And that's pretty quick. So that's that one. Yeah. Oh, that's tiny, isn't it? That's that one. Oh. I'm going to leave them to go for a minute. Stick this little one in. Probably be another pain in the bum one because it's tiny. So yeah, we got one to go, which I thought we might have. One to go here. So that's that really for a second. Let them go off and then we can put a gloss coat over the top of them. Yeah, put a gloss coat on the top and we can start putting some oil washes in and making it look fancy dancy, so to speak. So let's let them go off, then I'll come back. So we're back at the bench after another semi-gloss coat again. So I've got Hammer Makes Streak and Grind. I'm going to use it as a wash, so I've put some in the pot. I've thinned it out a little bit with thinners, and I'm just going to go over a few little areas with it just to stain it up a little bit. It's quite thin. Probably a bit thin, but actually I'll probably thin it out too much. So I'm just going to do this at the moment. Just going to outline a few areas like that. Do that on both these bits. As you can see, I'm not being overly I'm not being overly careful with how I'm doing this. Just getting it in there. Now this one on the bring that back on there. That's what I mean. It's not like a massive washing, yeah. This is just a grimy wash. Right, what I need is another pot. So I went to Hobbycraft this morning because I needed to get some filler, which I need to put in my thing in a minute, and they actually had some Tamiya painting, so they must have had a restock because they had a reshuffle around in there. It looked like they were going to stop doing the paint, and I was like, no, because we haven't got any local shops, local model shops where I live. I think the closest one is in Newton Abbot, which is I think it's 16 mile away, something like that. So anyway, let that go for a minute and I'll come back. Yes, quick battery change. as well. So dark that looks now. So just clean thinners. This hasn't gone off yet. It's you leave it longer than this, but I want to just feather some of this around a little bit. I'm not drying my brush off right off. All I'm doing is I'm getting it wet, and then I am just dabbing it around to sort of fade this lot into itself a little bit. And I'm not going to be going crazy with that because I want it to have some in one place and some in not in another. One of the reasons I tend to use oil paint rather than this product though is because sometimes you can do this and it doesn't always reactivate. If you start with this wash, stick with this wash all the way through your kit as well, because otherwise you'll end up with this will be different colours altogether. Just going to go back to there. Just want to make sure I haven't got any streaking or straight lines in through that bit there. Which I haven't, which is good. Yeah. Just let that dry. All it is just do a bit, let it dry, do a bit, let it dry. So we've let that dry back up for a little bit. I'm just going to get some Tamiya panel liner. I'm just going to go around the nuts and bolts and joints. Pretty good. think that's our panel line done. But I'm not worried about this area because obviously we got you won't see that, so it's been on there for a little while, so it might not actually come off now. I'd be surprised if it does. Oh, look at that! I didn't think it would. There. You can see how much it changes the colour from our base coat. This is one of the reasons I lighten it up, to putting a wash on and it darkening it. Gives it a bit, it makes it, I think, you may not agree with me, but I think it makes it warmer, gives it a warmer look to it. So all we've got to do now is let that lot dry off. We can dry brush the blacks, the cables, dry brush a few high spots on some nuts and bolts here and there, and then matte varnish it back, and then a little bit of like metallizing, we can put it together. That'd be good. And that's what we got. That's all I'm doing for tonight because it's getting late. So yeah, back, let that dry. Hey, we're back. Bit of drying time, well, I say a bit of drying time. So matte coat it to get rid of the shine. So all we're going to do is go over with a little bit of a dry brush with the metal. Oh, and I'm going to have to, sorry about that, I had to pause it so I could get my brush so I didn't bash the camera. Yeah, so it's just going to go over a few areas with a bit of a metal coat in places. We'll get them out of the way for a minute. And yeah, so it's just so we are just using the polished steel, my go-to colour at the moment by the sounds of it. Too thick. We're just going to go on some of these areas. I'm just going to go around some of these edges a little bit. Well, I can't get in with the dry brushing. Yeah, I've not gone too crazy because you're not going to see a lot in there, and you can overdo it really quick. So you could almost do that as well. It's more of a, you do with a pencil, it's more of a light refraction than it is, and so it just picks up, it makes it look metallic-y. So that's that bit, that's the metals done. Just going to add a little bit of grime in around some of these engine parts in a minute. I'm just going to get what I need. Right, so I've got fresh engine oil. Boy, that does look like engine oil. I'm just going to put a bit in a few places. That's all I'm doing. I don't want to do too much. So we're going to look quickly at the seat. So I painted this with a colour called black leather, and now I'm going to just, I don't, this may work, may not work, I've not tried it this way before, so I'm just going to now we're going to do a little bit of orange leather. Right, so then we're going to go back over with our coat, top coat that we had over everything, and it's a little bit, obviously going to be a bit thicker. Right, so just adding a bit of black to that mix to make it quite a bit darker. And we're just going to go in like that for a minute. Right, so nearly there. I'm just going to that, once it dries, hopefully should be us. Not a big fan of leather seats, so just let that go. We should be able to put this together then. Yay! Yeah, so our seat dried back. We will do a bit more weathering on it, but when we put it together, so that's what we got. The old worn out leather seat. I think it's better than just doing it black. Probably not the best, but that puts us to the point that we can actually put these bits together now. Whee! So we're going to start with this side. Get it to go. I'll do it on camera. We'll put it together a million times, and now I don't want it. Now we are back after a night's worth of drying. All the clamps are off. Everything looks like it's stuck quite nicely. See, I can't let it go. No, I'm only messing. And we've got a little bit of filling to do there. And that one's actually not too bad, but there's definitely a joint still, so we have to fill it. That one is sitting, well, not even half a mil. It's like a cigarette paper's worth, so that's not too bad. Happy with that. So we'll get that, I'll get that sanded and everything. So there we are looking at our, see, this is the trouble, isn't it? You put it together and then you can't see everything because it just seems to be tucked away, and it's even worse. So all that nice big area that we did, it looks nice and big. By the time you put that in place, and it does need squeezing in place, which a few people have said this as well. Yeah, so by the time you squeeze that in place, there's not a lot of all that work that we've just done that you get to see. But we know it's there, don't we? So that's what matters. But that, yeah, so the only thing I want to do tonight, because really we are pretty much done for this video, I think it's going to get a bit long otherwise, is stick this back piece on ready for the rest of it to go on. Not a bad fit. We'll get some gook. So the tamio is extra thin, bung it in there, bung it in there. My dog decides it wants to bark for some reason. I think somebody at the door, but there's not. Dogs are funny, aren't they? I got home and she sat on the settee waiting for me to get in the door. Right, I've just got to watch this because that looks like it's got a slight bow in it. It should be there. But there's a piece that comes up here. Let's get that piece because that might actually help. Back in a sec. Yeah, so there's a piece that just sits in there like that, look. And luckily you can, it's got two little holes that it says it sits into, but on the thing it doesn't show you to do that. This put it all together. So anyway, we can get it in still, which is quite good. So that means we can make this bit up. Not now, but I'm doing it again. Sorry, I moved my camera and yeah, so there's our second. That should keep us nice and square there for a minute. It's quite good. I still think that may sit a little bit high, so we can always cut the nibs down and lower it slightly if we need to. But yeah, so that's our kit for this week. It's looking starting to look really nice. That goes into there. There's just a little bit of movement there to hold that in. Shouldn't too bad. But that's it, guys, for this week, I think. So I think this video will come out after, so not this Saturday, the following Saturday, so it'll be after Christmas. So in between now and then, I hope you all have a really nice Christmas. And I hope that you all get some nice kits to build. Maybe this one. You can build along with it then, but yeah. So till next week, guys. Like I say, have a nice Christmas, and please hit the like and subscribe button. Helps the channel. Gets me closer to having more subscribers. I don't know, but yeah, if you like, leave a comment. Always join us on our Facebook group, Man Cave Models UK. There you can post pics of your builds if you're building something along, or if you've got questions, ask on there. Or if you've got questions, just leave a comment in the videos, and I will always get back to you. So yeah, so till next week, guys. Cheers. Oh, actually, I forgot, build something.